All right, pork confit, part 2, charcuterie. Well, that wasn't easy, waiting 2 days. I know, but good job. Patience shall be rewarded. All right, 48 hours in our brine, our pork shoulder has picked up all those amazing aromatic flavors, and that salt and sugar has seasoned it nicely. Now what you're going to do is you're going to pull it out of the brine, all right, dry it off a little bit, and you're going to put it on a piece of plastic wrap. Yes, plastic wrap. And you're going to wrap it up, and we're actually going to do this 3 times. All right, so nice and tight. Put another piece down. We're going to wrap it a second time in plastic wrap. All right, I'm going to go the opposite direction. See, the thing here is normally confit of pork would be cooked completely covered in duck or pork fat in a very slow oven. Well, we don't have, 2 gallons of fat laying around, or at least you shouldn't. So we're going to use a little different method, something I did with the duck confit. We're going to wrap it and slow roast it. So it's kind of still going to roast in its own juices. We're going to keep those in with plastic. Now, most people don't know, you can actually cook with plastic wrap as long as it's not at too high of a temperature. So I did 3 wrappings with plastic wrap, and I'm going to do 3 wrappings with foil. Okay? So that was 3 wraps in plastic. That was my first foil. That's my second foil. And again, I want it pretty tight. I mean, don't crush it, but you want it nice and tight. And by the time you get 3 coats of plastic and 3 coats of this heavy-duty aluminum foil, you are pretty much going to be sealing in everything inside there, and it is really just going to cook in its own goodness. All right. So once we have our beautiful packaged pork confit ready to go, we're going to put it in a baking dish. And we're going to go in a slow oven. All right, slow, I mean 275 degrees for 4 hours. Now, again, that's a 3-pound piece. So you're going to have to adjust according to the size of pork you're using. All right, this has to cool completely. All right, so again, patience. Overnight is best. All right, so I let it cool out of the oven. I put it in the fridge overnight. Took the foil off. I'm going to peel that plastic off. Now, I did it the hard way. I just kind of picked it off. It all comes off. It gets a little brittle because it's cold. One tip I should have done myself instead of just telling you is if you put it in the microwave with just the plastic on it for just like 30 seconds, the fat would melt a little bit and it would have just slid right off. But there we go. It's unwrapped, and that is pork confit. Incredibly moist, incredibly tender, and why we have to have it very cold like this is because now I'm going to slice it into pieces. And if you did this while it was warm, it would just completely shred and fall apart because that's how tender it is. I'm going to get 5 nice big slices out of this. All right, these are more very large appetizer size or entree size. If you wanted to cut those in half, you could actually do 10 appetizers out of this piece. And just because I don't really like the color, it's one of the drawbacks. It just has kind of a pink gray color. I'm going to sear it in just a little bit of oil, a little bit of olive oil, on both sides for about 3 minutes. I'm going to serve this warm. Now, as far as how I plated mine, I wanted to do very traditional garnishes like you'd find in a French charcuterie. I went with the Dijon mustard, some pickled red onions, which I'm actually going to demo on the site, some of those baby French pickles, the cornichon, a couple olives, and off to the right, about 8 inches away from this plate, were 2 beautifully toasted pieces of dark bread, and man, I was all set for a beautiful lunch. Now, don't feel like you have to do traditional. This pork has a really interesting texture, kind of a cross between a ham and a piece of roast pork. So this would be just as delicious on a plate with some mashed potatoes and veggies, or crumbled up in a taco. The Spanish do a version of this called carnitas. So anyway, give it a try. Try the brine. I know it takes a few days, but it's totally worth it. I really think you're going to like it, and enjoy.